So I will build several data pipelines that ingest data from a publicly available data set into BigQuery using these Google Cloud services, cloud storage, Dataflow, and BigQuery. And it's gonna be a little prototype. We'll see into the details and see the practice. So I have already activated my Google Cloud account, set it up the project, and you are seeing my Dataflow API screen, which I need to enable it right here. So it's going to take a few seconds and it will be enabled. That's it, it's got enabled. As you can see, the status is changed now. Also you can see the disable the button API key here. Disable API button over here. Let's go back. We don't need to disable that as of now. And let's do the next step. So I'm going to download a starter kind of code here. It says we're gonna be pulling out some examples into our current directory. So it's pulling out that, and then we're going to set our variable which will put our project name, like we're going to create a project variable, and this is our project ID. So you can get your project ID from here on the top, and then I'm going to set our configuration to our project, to this current project. So it's got updated, this core project. Now I'm going to create a cloud storage bucket, and the name would be the same. See, it's our project name. And now I'm going to copy files to this bucket. So there are some files I'm going to copy. One is the USA names, the other one is the head USA names. And both of them going to be into our same directory, which would be this, right? So it's getting copied. The operation is completed. Perfect. So we did almost 4 steps. Now I'm going to create a BigQuery data set, BQMK lake. So the lake here is the name of the BigQuery data set. MK for creating the data set, creating a file or something, right? So that's data set, BigQuery data set. Lake is being created. BQ stands for BigQuery. And now here's the main thing I'm going to do. I'm going to create a data pipeline, and that is be on Dataflow. I'm going to create an append only Dataflow, which will ingest the data into the BigQuery table. You can use the built-in code editor, which will allow you to view and edit the code in the Google Cloud console. So how am I going to do that? First of all, I'm going to open up Cloud Shell Open Editor. We'll open in a new window. It's going to take a couple of seconds, and open in a new window. Here's your VS Code. It's going to open up a VS Code, and then you need to open folder. We're going to open the folder we pulled the data into, the project files, right? I'm going to open this up. So what are we going to do in this? I'm going to ingest the files from Google Cloud Storage, filter out the header row in the files, convert the lines, read to dictionary objects, and finally output the rows to BigQuery. So that's our goal. So first of all, I'm going to read this data ingestion py file, which pretty much says it's a data flow pipeline which reads a file and writes its contents to BigQuery table. This example does not do any transformation on the data, so it just puts the data into BigQuery. Nothing fancy, right? But it has some configuration right here. See, strip out, carriage return, new line, and quote characters. It's kind of cleaning this stuff over here. And then it has another method which creates the pipeline and runs it. This is our main function. That means it runs all the things inside. It creates the BIM pipeline, and it's the end of the file. It just runs the code over here. At the end, it's going to run the main file. So you should run through all the comments which explains what the code is doing. This code will populate the data into BigQuery. So let's go back to our Cloud Shell session for this step. We will now do a little bit of setup for the required Python files. And how are we going to do that? We're going to return to the Cloud Shell, and I'm going to run a Docker container with the latest stable version of Python 3.7 and execute a command shell to run the next commands within the container. So it has the project ID, current directory, pwd. It goes to the examples, and then it just runs that. So currently it is downloading the Docker file and pulling all the settings we put on over here. We'll do that in a moment. It's done. It's got logged into our Docker image. It is under our we are right now in our Docker image. Okay, so once the Docker finishes pulling, right, this it's already pulled out, and we're going to install Apache BIM GCP 2.24. You can use your latest, whichever you want to do, version, and it's going to download and install Apache BIM. So it's going to take a couple of minutes. Let's do this. Perfect. So Now we're going to go into Dataflow directory. Let's run this command to go into the Dataflow Python examples. So it's what it does, it spin ups the workers required and shut them down when complete. Meanwhile, we can go to our Dataflow screen. We should open that up. So the first one, that's the Dataflow product. You click on that. And as you can see here, it shows a Beam app, which is about to start. Let's refresh that. It's running now. As you can see, we put it as 2.24. And that's our job. This is our job, right? So once it says it's finished or completed, we should see the data. It's going to be succeed. I hope it would. Let's wait for a couple of seconds. Meanwhile, we can see the log here. It is still running. So we're gonna look into BigQuery as well once it succeeds. So here you can see all the notifications about whatever actions you do on TCP, right? I'm going to drill down into it. It's gonna do these 3 steps right here. It's gonna read from a file. It's going to put all the strings into a BigQuery row and then write them to BigQuery dataset. Here you can see the execution details. And also you can see how much does it cost. Right now it says 0 because I'm on a free account. I'm on a learning account though. So let's refresh one more time. It's almost took 4 minutes now. Let's see the BigQuery part. Oh, it succeeded. Congratulations, we got this. Let's head our BigQuery. Welcome to BigQuery. Just put the done. And I'm going to expand this. Okay, we got our BigQuery data set, USA names, and as you can see, we have all our columns which were listed in the USA names. So perfect. The data is successfully loaded into BigQuery, into our BigQuery data set. Wonderful. So the one task is complete, the ingestion task. So we have successfully ingested our data from cloud storage to BigQuery. Now I'm going to build the Dataflow pipeline with text.io, and BigQuery input output destination, right? So I need to see the transformation part now. So transformation is here. It's say let me close the ingestion Python file. We're done with that. So what it says here? So it's a Dataflow pipeline which reads a file and writes its content in a BigQuery. Same thing, nothing fancy. But in this case, it reads a JSON schema of the intended output into BigQuery and transforms the data to match the format BigQuery expects. Perfect. So we are doing some transformation, which is gonna transform the data to match the format that BigQuery going to expect from it. All right. So it's a helper function given here, logic to translate the file into BigQuery, which it's going to accept, right? And here's the parsing method, comma separated values to dictionary, which can be loaded into BigQuery. So you can read all of these. It's straightforward. It's pretty much neat and clean with much better comments. Wonderful. Okay, so let's spin up some workers required and shut them down when it's complete our this execution of transformation Python file, right? So let's go back to the Cloud Shell and run this test. Transformation py file, I'm going to run that. The more time you invest in reading the logs, the better you can explore to learn things faster. So here it started one worker, job state running. Let me see the data flow. Okay, so the second job is running, which is our transformation job. A beam. We are using Apache Beam for that, to transform our data. Let's wait for a couple of minutes, and we're going to see succeeded over here. Then we're gonna check our BigQuery lake data set that we have created earlier, and there we're gonna see the updated table, or a refreshed new table for the transformation part. I like these filters, the knobs, whichever are running, you can just monitor those only, but it will also move away from here once it gets finished, so better off to stick over this. It's taking some time. I don't know why this is happening like that. Three minutes. Perfect. It's cleaning up. Starting worker pull, tear down, stopping worker pull. I think it's gonna finish now. At any moment. Stopping worker pull. So this one is better. I like this UI part over here, which shows all the monitoring content, like it's running or succeeds or whatever, and the other thing is shell part, which shows you all the logging. See, so that's what makes it wonderful. Google Cloud does that. They put the UI on a separate screen and the console logging on the other screen. Okay, so it's finished. That means we can see our BigQuery now. Let's expand our project, lake database, and data set. And here's the transformed data. Perfect. Now let's do the enrichment part. We're going to do the data enrichment now. And I'm going to open the enrichment.py file, data enrich. So what it does is this. Data enrichment.py demonstrates a data flow pipeline which reads a file and writes its content to BigQuery table. Same thing. All these Python files does the same thing, right? They reads the file and write its to content to BigQuery table. Along the way, data from BigQuery is read in as a side input and joined in with the primary data from the file. Now let's take a look at these. The data ingestion class. It's a helper class which contains the logic to translate the file into BigQuery format. We'll accept. Okay. And the parsing method, what it does, translates a single line of comma separated values to a dictionary, which can be loaded into BigQuery. So it's creating a string of, it's a group of strings, in a single line, like separated by commas, and it's called row, but yeah, it's going to create a dictionary out of that line. So that's their function. Here the run command, which does all the things like spinning up, adding the arguments, whatever you want to do over the console shell, that does all those command line features or arguments you can see on the console. What we did here earlier, like this, that's our previous command. So the reason why those commands are working, just because of this section of block, right? Run. So let's not worry about that. Let's go back to our cloud shell, and I need to modify a line over here. It says values equals to x.decode UTF-8 for x in CS0. So what it says, it's going to decode UTF-8. All I'm going to say right here, it should not do that, and it just put the values in. And I'm going to save that. And I'm going to run my data enrichment py file. So back again on console, I removed I cleared the screen right now by pressing Ctrl L. I'm going to put the the enrichment py file to run on the worker. So press enter, and it's going to spin up the workers and execute the data enrichment.py. Let's see our data flow screen, where we can see it should be having a new job over here. Yes, there we go. So let's see how much time it takes for enrichment. I think, yes. I like this button. The knob is just attractive. See? Works like a charm. Okay, all of them are running in region East 5, sorry. US East 5. And Let's wait for a couple of minutes. I think it's gonna take around about 4 minutes for each batch job. It's called batch job. We are not doing some real-time stuff here because our data is in the CSV. We are just working on those CSV files, so it's a batch, and those CSVs are not being concurrently having updated data at the same time. So those are complete files, and okay, it's about 3 minutes now. Let me refresh over here. It's still running. Oh, wonderful. It just succeeded. And now we can see it's a long wait, but thanks for bearing with me. I'm going to look into my BigQuery now, and let me check the lake, what it has to offer now. Transformed and enriched. Here's their enriched data. Put the preview. Perfect. Now we have done with. Now let's take our data lake to data mart, and I have one more script here which says data lake to mart, which pretty much what it does is reads at large BigQuery table, joins in another data sets, and writes its content to a BigQuery table. So it joins the data set with other data set. So example here, it shows data lake to data mart. Data mart, that means data shop, or mart means kind of shop, right? So and shop consists of many things, so it joins of everything, like uses side inputs to join two data sets together. Perfect. So we're getting orders method here, all the column names, numbers, and limiting to 10 records, and accounts details. So basically we are running SQL commands inside our Python code, and those are the query. So we have SQL code for the first time in this tutorial right now. So it's going to read the file, because as your data is in BigQuery now, we can use SQL. And let's run our data lake to data mart, mart.py on our worker. So meanwhile let's look at the data flow. Data flow is, as you can see, as you can understand, it's just a monitoring tool, right? It's a kind of detailed manager of all our jobs. Like you can stop the job, you can start the job, you can see in details, see what it does, what it do not. It's wonderful. Like it's execution details, how it is progressing, job metrics. So you don't need to code for each and every single tool. It's already inbuilt into this. And let's hit over the refresh button and see. Meanwhile, you can check the logs over here. What is happening? Perfect. Workers have started successfully. So for workers to get started, it takes about a minute or so. Yes. And now it's going to perform our job. It's going to onto the workers. So it's kind of a bit slow today. I don't know why, but it seems to be slow, right? It's, look at this, all these timestamps. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 4 minutes. I think it would depend on your region that you have selected, or maybe something else. So it has completed the joining. It has data join is complete, initialized, query is completed. Job, you can check its status. Okay, let me check the status over here. Let me drill down into this and look into the details, what is going on. Let me check the job. See, one stage succeeded. Here it says account details is succeeded. This one, read orders from BigQuery, succeeded. Joining data is succeeded. Write data to BigQuery is succeeded. Let's go back. and check the other log. Stopping worker pull, tear it down. So it's about to finish it off. And it's going to be finished anytime. Perfect. So we're done with data lake to Mart. Now we could look into our BigQuery and our data set over here. We can see a new data set. Orders denormalized side input, that's our table name. So this is the output. It has to join. It had merged the data. So that's our data lake to Mart data flow pipeline. And that's it for the part. And you can see what we did is extracting the data, we transformed it, and we load it. So that's called the ETL job. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.